What's everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom compute needs, whether you're a gamer, streamer, creative artist, musician, business person, they'll build the perfect custom PC for you. Get $100 off your entire bill. Use code CPPOD at darkfusionsystems.com. Link below. Thank you guys. I got a brand new keyboard for you to check out as well. Now, we've had this band suggested to us by so many other bands, the band that you need to check out, and we have brought them on today. This is Archers. We have Grayson and Ben with us, talk about their brand new EP, All That I Have Left, coming out on May 10th. We dive deep in the song Before You Go, which is a lot different than some of the things they've tried beforehand, but works out incredibly well. You're going to see what that is. And we answer the question, why are they your mom's favorite metalcore band? Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. Since we've been asking artists to give us 3 artists they would love to see get more support and get more recognition, we've seen a lot of bands come through. We've also seen many bands come through over and over and over again. And finally enough, this band that's been showing up over and over again is on the podcast today. And I'm still kicking myself for not trying to bring them on earlier because they are originally from my neck of the woods here in Wisconsin, originally from Madison, Wisconsin. They're metalcore with that twist of pop rock in there, really taking a lot of strides, really gaining a lot of recognition in the scene right now across so many bands. Again, we've heard them offered as suggestions to go listen to so many times. A brand new EP called All That I Have Left is releasing on May 10th. So let's get you ready for it, and let's get you to know this band better than you ever have. So please welcome Grayson and Ben from the band Archers to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Yo. How's it going?
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being on, guys. It's a pleasure to have you on. But first off, thank you very much, Grayson, for reaching out and being like, hey, maybe we should try this because, yeah, we definitely should have maybe a year ago, and I blame myself for that one.
That's like kind of what I said. I was like, dude, I've seen our name come up so much, I figured it was time to reach out, you know?
Yeah, right away when I saw, I'm like, yeah, this has to be done. It was like, I think it may message you like maybe 3 or 4 minutes after I saw it. It's just like, I got to get this in. Like, yes, absolutely, yes, we're doing this shit. But first off, thanks for being on, guys. And I got to say, it probably feels really good, especially since seeing your name pop up so many times from so many other artists and bands recommending you, really giving you guys a lot of praise, not only for your style and sound, but just who you guys are as people.
Yeah, it's sick. It's really cool.
I would be hoping it would be, because otherwise it's like, oh, this is, maybe not the best thing in the world. It's okay. It's whatever. That would just kind of sound weird, right? Because if it was the other way, it'd just be kind of odd. Well, one thing I'm always curious about, especially just trying to get people to get to know more bands and get to know more about the bands that are great that are coming up in the scene, is I always like to see what the whole origin story is for Archers, how you guys got to where you are today. And I always say it as, can you give me the origin story? Like if you're starting out the MCU, like, I want to hear the origin story of Archers like it's the first Iron Man movie. So what you guys got for me?
Oh, God, I'm the origin story guy, but I have like the most monotone voice in the world. So like it's not going to be that exciting.
I mean, too MCU, but you'll get the point will get across.
Fair. Yeah, so Archers started in 2015 by me and Nathaniel, our vocalist. We were kind of just like not exactly sure what we wanted to do with it. We just like hanging out and making music. Honestly, like, just kind of released some songs, played some shows here and there over a couple years. And then we had a cover that like took off way more than we were expecting it to. And that's when we were like, hold up, like there's something here. We could probably do something with this. So we really just started like buckling down, trying to figure out like, what was going to make the most sense as far as like members go. How are we going to start figuring out how to like play more shows out of state? How are we going to start figuring out how to record better music and just like step up in every way possible? So that's really what we've been focusing on since like 2018 up until, honestly, I would say like 2021, 2022, around that time frame. We were just like, okay, I think we have something cool. Like we have a really cool lineup. We got some people that are really starting to get behind this thing. Like let's go into go mode and like let's figure out how are we going to tour more, how are we going to keep releasing music, and how are we just going to keep this thing going.
I think you may have put one of my favorite new phrases in there. We just went into go mode with it. And well, why not? When you guys see that you have a cover that ends up popping off and you actually have that feel of, hey, we got something going on here, there is something here we can try. You got to go for it, especially when you're in that creative outlet. You want to create something for yourself that's going to be, scratching that creative itch, but at the same time, really feeding your soul and feeding that like artistic ability that you have. You got to go for it. You got to try it, because sitting and just being like, oh, it's okay, and then just letting it kind of be, that would be something you'd regret for the rest of your life, as every creative would.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even on top of that, as well, as you guys have continued to grow, you guys have continued to gain a rather good fan base as well. Again, continuing to gain not only the fan base, but the absolute respect from so many of your peers, because you guys have definitely gone out and have, toured with a couple of great bands too. Just kind of see what you guys have done with, Savage Hands versus Me, our friends, and if not for me, Boys of Fall, coming up, going on a small run with Magnolia Park as well. Like, you've got a lot of bands that are really coming up, really getting a lot of traction, and you guys are a part of that as well, and continuing to support that and grow all these other bands alongside you as well. So there's this whole feeling that you guys are a part of something. Like, there's always that like next wave that's coming. It feels like you guys are a part of that next big thing that's going to happen. Even for the big things that we're seeing already, it's like, all right, we're starting to see that next huge group of bands really take charge, really take over. And the next 5 years, we might see all the bands you guys went out on tour with, including yourselves as well, being those bands that people look up to, like, holy shit, how'd they get so big?
I appreciate it, man. Yeah,
Thank you.
It's very cool, especially being somebody who's so, like, I'm the biggest fanboy ever. So like all these bands that you mentioned that we've had the pleasure of playing with, I'm also just like a huge fan of, and I respect so much. When we were doing all of our self-booked tours and we were picking all the lineups ourselves, it literally was like, okay, well, what bands do we love listening to? And we kind of just want to watch every night. So that's where, If Not For Me came in, Two Sides of Me came in. When Boys of Fall took us out, that was like a huge thing, because like everybody had been listening to them forever. They're great musicians. They're great guys. So it's like, to hear, because you kind of get lost in all the back end of everything. You don't really know how you're perceived from the outside, but that's when it's really cool seeing things like, people shouting us out on your show, or hearing the fact that we're playing with bands like Magnolia Park or Imminence or whoever it is. It's like, damn, this is like actually like, this is starting to do something, and it's really cool. And you nailed it on the head. Like, it all comes down to the fans. Like, we are a band that has never really, we're not a part of the Cool Industry Kid Club yet, hopefully. But one thing we have always had is the super diehard fan base that is always knocking down any door we need them to. And I know every band says it, but like with us, like they're legitimately all we have. So it's very cool that even, someone like yourself notices that.
It's pretty easy to notice too, especially, I understand what you're saying. You're not part of that like cool kid industry club, but it's something where, as we're seeing over time, as of course, bands are getting more popular, especially with the internet, with TikTok, how the accessibility has been for bands to really achieve that through the fans. It's kind of taking a little bit less of that industry side of things and really showing more how these fan bases can really help. And the fan bases are going to be such a powerful thing if you connect with them on a much deeper level, a much more personal level, and you're able to deploy that empathy for them. So, hey, you guys are coming out to support us. You guys are coming out when you maybe have something else going on, but you're still taking the time to come spend your hard-earned money to see us play, to support our passion, to support our dream. So we're going to show you that exact same kind of appreciation and support in kind. And it's that kind of back and forth of respect, which is something where bands get those feverish fan bases that will help break you through in any place you want. Whether it's getting on some of these bigger tours, whether it's being able to go and play a couple of shows with a band like Imminence, whether it's getting on some festivals like Louder Than Life, which I know you guys did a couple of years ago. So there's a lot of positive that's coming from there. However, it's the connection you guys have with these fans and the respect you have for them that is absolutely driving that. And I feel like that's going to be where, the Cool Kid Industry Club has to go towards, based on the fact of how powerfully the connection between fans and success ultimately is, especially now that fans have a much more direct ability to affect that, given their presence on social media.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you nailed it.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't really have anything to add. It's just, you're absolutely right. And I think that something that helps us connect with our fans, at least me and the way that I think about it, and I know that all my guys are the exact same way, is we're all, like I said, I'm a massive fanboy. I know when I'm a fan of a band, I know what I enjoy. I know what merch I want. I know what I want my vinyl to look like. I know what I want to expect at a show. And so having that kind of perspective where I will always be a fan first, no matter what the band does or anything. I love this shit. I can't get enough of it. And having that perspective, that's always what I'm thinking about when we're thinking about, oh, well, we have this merch drop, or we're going to do this tour. Or what if we added this little Easter egg in that the fans who notice it are going to be the ones that appreciate it. And yeah, man, you mentioned Louder Than Life. Both years we played Louder Than Life, and it was 150% fan voted. We had nothing to do with that. So you're absolutely right.
Now, you say 150% fan vote. Is that like the Space Zebra competition that they usually have for that?
Yep. Yeah, they did like a Battle of the Bands thing, and it's 100% voted on their Twitch stream. And our fans, you know, there's never been a fan voted thing that they have not made sure that we won. So they are the MVPs for sure.
I think one of the main things that I've never really heard anyone say, Grayson, but it really stands out with just the perspective that you have when it comes to kind of being that like all-in fan, that fanboy kind of style, because you are going to have fans that are going to get as deeply connected with the band. As bands that really grow and shine, they have people just get so deeply invested in them where it kind of just takes over, and you have that idea to take a look at, okay, what would people like that really get into? What are they looking for in terms of merch? What kind of things are they looking for a vinyl drop? Live show, what are they looking for? Take a look at like what Bad Omens has done over the past 2.5 years. Really seeing how they have grown massively off of the death of Peace of Mind and have really cultivated this huge, large fan base. What happens with their merch drops? I mean, they drop merch every now and again. And when they do, if you're not on that site right when it drops, you're not getting a damn thing. Your best chance to actually get Bad Omens merch is to see them play live and to get to the show as early as possible because of how feverish people are to get them. However, that's when you're seeing them grow. You see bands thrive. Bad Omens is headlining day 2 of Upheaval this year, which you would have never thought they were going to be able to do like 2 years ago, but they're doing it. And it speaks to just the idea that you guys have to connect with the fans, what they want. But from the other members' perspective as well as like you, Ben, and the other guys, not having that full-on fanboy perspective can also level it out a little bit so you can still connect with all these other fans and what's going to potentially connect them that aren't necessarily as feverish into it, but still have that welcoming side of, hey, you can come in and get into Archers. Even if you're feverish about us or not, you're still going to be welcome here and you're still going to have a blast listening to our music.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big like experience guy. So whenever I think about how we want to set stuff up, it's like, what kind of experience are we creating for the people that are gonna, you know, whether they're listening from home, coming out to a show, like just scrolling through TikTok and like catch us on a For You page or whatever it might be. Like, you know, every moment of Archers, like what kind of experience are we creating for the people seeing it?
Oh, absolutely. It's the experience, such a huge thing. And especially even think about it now in this other capacity. As time has gone on in generations, like especially millennials and people in Gen Z are really starting to, you know, get even more into the foray, really start to show up at shows and spend their money. They're spending their monies on those experiences. We're spending money because we want to have those moments that we can remember, that we can enjoy, and that when, you know, time passes, we can always look back on fondly and say we did those things. And when you have that idea behind that of we want to make sure the experience is as best as possible, people especially that are coming up and starting to get money in their hands to use as disposable income, they're going to want to spend it on those experiences. And seeing an Archer show, if it's going to be an experience for them and it's going to bring that positivity and they get to do it over and over and over again, it's going to become addicting and go to it. That's why we go to live shows all the time. That's why we enjoy all this stuff and really go through it and dive headfirst over and over and over again. People want those experiences. And if you're going to be focusing on providing that, you're going to go a long way.
Yeah, dude, it's fun. It's also just fun planning all that stuff and going from the planning process to actually being at the shows and seeing people live out that experience is like, okay, well, clearly they're enjoying it. So we're doing something right. And it kind of makes all the like stressful, nitpicky planning things, because there's a lot that goes on the back end that a lot of people don't see. But all of that, you know, headache that can cause is gone the second, you know, we're in the crowd playing and I see like a 5-year-old kid throwing up the horns, you trying to catch a drumstick. I'm like, dude, this is why we do this, you know?
I'm also like, I'm the biggest Oh, sorry. I'm like the
No, go
biggest
for it.
fan of whenever we do headlining tours and we like really put a lot of thought into planning it all out. You know, like every single night while the sport bands are playing or like the local openers or whoever, it's like going out into like the back of the crowd and kind of like catching like a few moments of it from the crowd perspective every night as well too, and like really like taking it in.
And even from taking in from all some of those local bands as well that you're seeing, especially as you're touring around the U.S. and seeing what bands are doing, you know, in states like Pennsylvania, bands are doing in Florida. It also has to give you some inspiration to see what some other creatives are having these ideas, what they're coming up with, how they're connecting with the crowd, and does it fit with your overall sound? Does it fit with you guys' overall style? And can you implement something like that to make the experience even greater?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Because that's how we learn. That's how we get inspired. It's, you know, there's going to be so many different things you can come up with on your own, but because there's so many people in the creative space, there's so many people that are trying all these different things as well. Maybe you just need to see something all of a sudden, say, oh, we can take that, twist it just a little bit for ourselves, and it's going to be one of the most impactful things that we can get, so that we have more 5-year-olds in the front row with the horns up there trying to catch drumsticks. We have more people in their teens and 20s in the pit going crazy, and we have even more of those like old guys sitting at the back bar like, these concerts ain't what they used to be, but this band Archers is pretty damn good, so I'm going to sit here and look like a curmudgeon, but I'm really enjoying all of this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I'm pretty sure you guys have seen those guys out there at some of those shows just like,
Oh yeah.
but all of a sudden they come back up. I love your set, man.
If there's one demographic that loves this band, it's the moms. So shout out to all the moms, because moms love Archers and we love them back.
So technically, could we call Archers the MILF band, if that's the case?
Dude, we literally, I don't know why we haven't done it yet, but we have been talking about making a your mom's favorite metalcore band shirt forever, and we just haven't done it yet. But like, come out to an Archer show, you will see the moms show up, and they're there to party. They're not standing in the back or being at the bar. They're up front. They're throwing the horns. They're getting in the pit. They're there to have a good time.
Why have you guys not made a shirt like that if that's the case? You know how hot that shirt would go?
We talk about it all the time.
I know.
And then the second that we like plan merch, it's just like out of my head. But then
we gotta like drill it. We gotta remember to do it. Like
we have
next
to.
time we do a merch line.
We literally chant hot moms before our set.
You have to do it at this point. You have to. Okay, I don't even know when the next merch drop is, but whatever it is, after this, wherever you can, wherever you're going to see it every single day, create a picture on a Post-it note, legal pad, I don't care what it is. Put it as your computer background, just the image of a shirt that says your mom's favorite metalcore band, so you see it every day, so when the merch drop happens, you have to look at it and be like, oh, we have to do this.
Yeah, we need to. We've talked about it forever.
100%.
Because you know the moms are going to buy that. You know they're going to wear it. You know they're going to have a lot of fun with it. I also know you guys are going to end up like walking around with those shirts on too, because it's just, oh, it's hysterical. What band is that for? Ours. It's for our band.
Your mom loves us already. Buy the shirt.
That would be a great line, honestly. We got these shirts for sale. Your mom already loves us, so just go buy it. We're just saving you some time here.
Your mom already knows. Ask her.
I'll go ask my mom tomorrow when I see her. Honestly, I'll be like, "Hey, mom, is Archers your favorite metalcore band?" She'll be like, "I don't know what that is, but sure."
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what happens. One thing I do have to say before even diving into the new EP is I have been kicking myself as well, not only for not bringing you guys on here, but every chance I've seen you guys pop up around the area, get a chance to play, I'm always looking at the dates. I'm just like, shit. Because either I've got tickets for something else or I'm not even in town. I'm just like, you've got to be kidding me. It's like Teflon. Like, I cannot stick to a date with you guys. Like, I have yet to see you guys play. I have yet to stick to it. I'm like, this is getting maddening at this point.
It's a good time. You got to come out.
Yeah, definitely a good time.
The question is do I hang out in the pit or do I hang out with all the moms? Because either or, it's going to be a good time.
I was going to ask the same thing. Where would you be? So, you could do both. You could fit in both.
So the thing is, I'd fit in both, but once the show would start and all of a sudden you see that nice area in the middle of the crowd open up, usually I'm like a kid on Christmas when I see it. I just get super duper excited and I run right in there. Usually I'm the one that just stay in the middle of it, the end of it, like, where'd everybody go? We're not done yet. Please?
Right.
And then my buddy Shane will come and try and just obliterate the living hell out of me because he thinks it's funny, which it kind of is.
Shane's a good friend.
Yeah.
Shane is a good dude. So jumping into, you guys have the brand new EP, all that I have left coming out on May 10th. And there's 5 songs on it, and I've seen that you guys have released 4 of the 5 already as singles, especially with the song Bitter probably being the one that has really shown a lot of promise in terms of the overall streaming numbers. I think when I looked on Spotify yesterday, I know it was at the 2 million mark. I can't remember if it was over the 3 million mark, but I mean, it was definitely getting a lot of traction. So when it came to this overall EP, what was the idea behind it overall, from the sonic creation, the inspiration, and the overall, lyrical idea behind it? I know you guys maybe didn't write the lyrics behind it, but maybe you guys have an idea of really where the idea for the whole entire EP came from.
I feel like with the lyrical idea behind the EP is almost just like self-awareness of like being just like, I understand I'm not perfect, and like I'm gonna, I'm doing what I can. I'm trying to make myself the best person I can be, but I admit and I own up to the fact that I'm not perfect. I feel like that's what a lot of our songs end up being about.
Yeah, and it's cool because there wasn't really, Bitter. They recorded Bitter in 21.
I think we started writing it in 21.
Yeah, so this was even before I was in the band, but Ben and I have been friends for a long time, even before me being in this. So I was always kind of privy to what was going on in the Archers camp. But what's cool about what was the sonic direction? There really wasn't one because of the gap. Bitter was 21, Say the Sober and the original version of Smiling Out of Habit were 22. And then we went back in the beginning of 23 and finished the Smiling Out of Habit that you have now, as well as Drag Me Out and Before You Go. So luckily they all go together. There wasn't really a goal. But yeah, I'm stoked on them. I think
like sonically a lot of it was like finding ourselves kind of through this EP. Like I think kind of like when we did our New Normal EP in 2020, I'm really stoked about those songs still, and like I feel like we really came up with something cool. But we wanted to like really evolve from those songs and try to like find something that was more of our own. Where like when we did our last EP, we were like, man, like here are the bands we really love, we really look up to. Like how do we like write music that kind of like shows that like this is who we're really into and what we really like. Where these songs are really more about like us trying to figure out like what it is exactly that like makes Archers Archers. And I feel like between the 5 songs, like we really found something and really locked into something.
See, that's one thing I've continually seen from a lot of different bands as well, and a lot of bands that are succeeding in the scene right now, where at the beginning, of course, this happens with any artist. You're going to end up writing and emulating a lot of the things you see from the artist that you take a lot of inspiration from, that you love, because you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to see where to go, and that's where you're most comfortable with, so you're going to create that. With the release of New Normal, now you're seeing some of the success, and it's, well, where do you go from there? Do you stay in the box, or do you try to expand? Do you try and evolve? Do you try and create something? And what we've seen over the past couple of years, and we've seen consistently with a band like Bring Me the Horizon, is the consistent idea to try and see exactly what's inspiring you at that moment, where you want to take your sound while still being at your core, because of course it's still going to sound like you guys, it is you guys, but where can you expand this? Where can you try these new things? The more that gets put in there and the more that gets shown, the more authenticity comes through with you guys as a band, and people get more into it because you guys have the creative freedom to do that, and you don't have that, restriction put in your head or kept in your head because you're afraid of what people on the a subreddit are going to say, like, oh no, they're changing their sound, they sold out. Well, maybe if they evolve it because they had different perspectives, they wanted to try something different, they wanted to add something to it. And by adding something to it, maybe now they're playing in front of, 200 to 300 people a night instead of playing in front of 20 people a night, and you're complaining about it and you only ever went to one show ever. Like, come on, give me a break. Let the guys do what they want to do. Let them flow with how they want to flow. It's their artistic vision. It's their art. It's their expression. They're going to express how they want to, and we're going to be better off for it if we let them do their thing and not complain as fans.
Yeah, and we got to give a huge shout out to our producers as well, Nick Matskos and John Eberhard. They really, especially John, because John is who we write with, and he is kind of the guy. It's always nice to have that outside perspective, because when you have 4 people with 4 incredibly different tastes with the same end goal, but maybe 4 different paths on the way to get there, John is for sure the guy that's like, okay, I'm hearing all these ideas. He's kind of the guy that, he can kind of take everything and tie all the ropes together and get, we would not be getting this kind of product without him. And then Nick doing all the production and mixing and mastering and we would not be doing what we are doing without them. So they deserve the biggest of shout outs because they're just the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, give them all the shout outs in the world, because if continue to work with them and continuing to have this idea with them as well, it's going to continue to just pull out great music from you guys and continue to show that end goal where it is and create this thing where the conglomeration of your 4 ideas and influences and who you are as people that are from different places can come together and create something that is unique, has its own flavor to it, but also is achieving that end goal that you all want to achieve. That's the beauty of working with producers that can actually, kind of understand where the end goal is, somewhat get inside your head to really see where you're trying to go with these things, and just know how to bring those out and put them into the overall mix. There are certain producers that can really do it well, and especially with this EP, after working through it, seeing all the differences and intricacies that I found in there, I think you guys definitely hit on it, not only from your writing style, but with the producers as well over the past couple of years of putting these songs together.
Thank you. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
So, of course, we've heard 4 of the songs already, but the one we haven't heard yet before the drop is Before You Go. So, this one was definitely one that caught me off guard a little bit, and I can definitely tell you why, but I gotta ask, before we jump into that piece of it, what was the idea behind this song? What was the overall creation process? Because it does have a little bit of a different flavor compared to the rest.
Yeah, that song, we knew when we went into that session, we knew we kind of wanted to do something different. So the fact that you said it kind of caught you off guard is a job well done. But we knew we wanted. I love the big emotional stuff. I love when music makes me feel, and not just like, oh, this song's so heavy, I want to go punch somebody in the pit. I love when it's like, man, this is making me reflect on the last 23 years of my life, and now I'm sad, but it's awesome. That's kind of what I was a big, Ben and I both were like, we should try to do this big sad song, and a couple people weren't feeling it, but when it got time to work on it, and John was like, well, what do you guys want to do with this? We started listening to a lot of older music. There was a lot of, old school Paris we were listening to, a lot of Too Close to Touch. They're one of my favorite bands of all time.
Sorry.
I'm going to try to make this short, but we ended up talking about a Halsey song that I was like, this song, Ashley by Halsey, would be the sickest Too Close to Touch cover. And John was like listening to it, and he's like, yeah, I think we could do something like this. And we ended up almost writing it like we were writing a cover, and then stripped everything but the chorus that we had come up with, and then wrote the rest of the song around that. And then Pulley came in the day after with the entire song lyrically. It didn't get a single change. Yeah, so perfect. Making that song was like one of the coolest experiences I've had in the studio, because the way that John pulled that song out of us was something none of us would have thought to do on our own. And it was just the coolest thing to watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like, I feel like what really, like, this was like a while ago, but in I feel like I'm gonna talk for too long about this now, but
go for it, man. Go for it.
Like November of 22 or something. We were on a tour out in the West Coast, and we had an off day, and thankfully the like Bad Omens, like Death and Peace of Mind tour was coming through, where we played in Seattle the day before. It's just like, we were in like the small room, and then there's like the big room at this venue, and thankfully the venue owners were kind enough to let us in, and like watching them do that cover of Sympathy from Too Close to Touch, I feel like me and Grayson kind of were like, what if we tried putting out something like within the same realm, like within that same type of feel. And like, I feel like that's kind of where the idea for this song started.
That's a curious place for the song to start like this, just based on the fact that it's a band doing a cover of another band's song, and then you guys get inspiration of like, well, what if, Too Close Touch did a cover of this? How is this all going to play out together? Could we do something like this? Because why it threw me off guard is because when you guys open it up, it was like there's some static into it, but then it led to like an 80s pop vocal meets Dayseeker vibe. And I'm like, this doesn't kind of really like make sense compared to the rest of the EP. I'm not sure where this is really going to go. And then kind of starting to get through it, I looked at the way it was built. I'm starting to put in my head, I'm like, okay, am I going to be able to predict where this is going to go, especially for the chorus to hit? And I know you guys said you're really proud of the chorus, so I'm happy to say when you get to the chorus, it is like one of those like more post-hardcore style ballads that you're absolutely going to fall in love with because your pacing is melodic. The instrumentals are full and grand, and they do have a little more of that older style of music feel where it's going to be a lot more full, like vibrato style grand. The vocals have more of that flow behind them. that there's like this emotional exhaustion and leaving all the cards on the table feel like this is it. This is everything it is. This is everything I have. Whatever. Just take it as it is. Creating something that many post-hardcore bands would be massively envious that they did not create themselves. Like if you show this to guys like the guys in Dayseeker, the guys in Holding Absence, the guys in Caskets, they would listen to this and be like, hot damn!
Hopefully.
I love every band that you just mentioned, so that's so sick.
Oh, I'm all right with Dayseeker. I love listening to Holding Absence. I've had Caskets on the podcast like 3 times. I saw them from the recordings. I saw them 3 days ago in Chicago, and it was just like I'm thinking about Before You Go, and I was like, got that show. I'm just like, yeah, that chorus definitely would be one of those choruses. They look at me like, God damn, why didn't we write this shit? But that's what it is. It hits that well, and I was not expecting it to go that way, which is why I'm glad it did, because it just opened up the song so much and really hits you right in the heartstrings. So when people hear this and when you guys play this live, it's going to have that emotional toll to it that people are going to get into. Plus, you guys are going to even be, not just be your mom's favorite metalcore band, you're going to be your mom's favorite band after a song like this.
We do it for the moms.
Yeah, all for the moms.
That'll be the next thing. It'll be like big banner back Archers, and then all of a sudden it's going to fall and it just says, do it for the moms.
Absolutely. Okay.
But it's gonna, honestly, that's gonna be something that's really, I think, is gonna take hold. And I'm not sure if it's gonna be as like overall just stream wise as big as like something that Bitter has been, just seeing how big that thing has gotten. But I hope it is, because then it kind of shows you guys, try more with this, see what happens with this sound, see where you guys can expand on this while keeping it who Archers is. Because you listen through the rest of the EP and it's like the song's already released. Yeah, there are some heavier moments in there. There are some more poppier moments in there. But it shows that there is a more well-rounded thing and a more expansive side that Archers still has yet to explore.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you. You just made my night with how much you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. This is how I was looking at it. If you guys are going to be on the podcast, you guys got new music coming out, it's my responsibility to listen through it, really try and get my own understanding of it so that we can talk about it and have conversations like this. Because if I just said, oh, I thought it was cool, then what would I be doing out here, really?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Oh, yeah.
And then hopefully that means that we can make some of those Your Mom's Favorite Metalcore Band t-shirts and see every single mom in the area wearing one. So every time I go to a show, I see some mom that's like, oh, yeah, she's on the edge of the pit hitting people for fun. And she's got that Archers t-shirt on. like we could probably get that thing to be even more popular than the Austin 316 shirts you see at wrestling shows. I'm not sure, but maybe we can try.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, and end it with a hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Which at that point in time, if you guys would have to come out instead of, you do the hot mom chant, then walk out on stage, and all of a sudden you hear the glass shatter, Stone Cold's music hits, someone throws you 2 beers up on stage each, and you guys just clash them together, drink, and next thing you know, you go into something absolutely beautiful to start out the set.
All about dynamics, you need to have both ends of the spectrum there.
Yeah, you need to get in the feels, but also you need to get that moment of you potentially going to go around and stunner people and give them the middle finger and just scream incessantly at them at the same time because it's funny and everyone's just going to be like, by God, Stone Cold just hit him with the stunner.
But really, it was your mom.
Oh my God. Could you imagine a pit full of moms doing Stone Cold stunners to people during an Archers song?
Oh, that'd be magical.
That would be something that would just go insane on any social media platform. Just like moms stunning moms, and all of a sudden it's just you see everyone in the same Mom's Favorite Metalcore Band t-shirt, Stone Cold stunners everywhere. I'm not necessarily sure how that would go, but I would love to be in the middle of it just to potentially take one of those stunners and try and oversell it like The Rock just to make you guys laugh on stage.
Yeah, that would work.
We got a very good marketing plan, so.
I mean, you guys already have it set up with the fan base you have. I'm pretty sure they'd easily get behind something like that, as long as the fact that it's the random guy that comes up out of nowhere that ends up taking the hit. Plus, who doesn't want to laugh at something like that? Just be like, oh, that was a lot of fun, and then you guys just have a blast with it. Next thing you know, everyone's like, hey, we got to go see Archers live because there's gonna be the feels, there's gonna be the fun, there's gonna be the moms, and there's gonna be some WWE style finishers in the middle of the pit.
Gotta have everything variety. It's all about variety.
The Archers Variety Show. Better than the Brady Variety Show because that was the 70s, and who cares about that?
We have more moms.
Exactly. You guys got better moms.
Got all the hot
said it.
single moms in our area.
Yeah. So again, I know you guys are going out with Magnolia Park. So you got a couple of shows with Imminence as well. So when it comes to these shows, especially because the EP is going to be fully out, you guys will be able to play all these songs. What can we as fans expect from you guys during these live shows that are coming up? Because I want to make sure that more people get to be like, hey, we got to go see this if they're not already sold already. Because, you know, we got to be like businessmen. We got to be like sell, 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 sell. So we're trying to sell them so they go buy, 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 buy more Archers tickets so they can find out if you guys have the Hot Moms t-shirts for sale during the shows.
Oh, is that on me? I feel like as the show's coming up, like, you know, we're definitely going to be showcasing all the new songs on the EP. We're going to be, I feel like the vibe we have on our shows, it's like we don't have, you know, like this crazy production or like insane like amp back line or anything. Like it's really just about like having a good time and like the vibe is there and like bringing up the energy within the whole room and just, you know, making sure that like everyone has a great time and that we can vibe with each other from like us on stage to everyone in the crowd.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that makes the most amount of sense just because you think about, you know, some of the bigger bands out there, the ones that have all the production behind them, all the money they could want to really put together that kind of show. That's going to amplify to a certain experience. But for bands that are young or really getting their feet under them, that's not necessarily the case because, you know, you're not going to be able to spend like what Bad Omens did in 2022, spend $100,000 on a stage set. It's just not going to be possible at this point in time. So you got to make sure that the connection's there. You got to make sure the energy is there and make sure that you're putting on the best show possible so that, once again, the little kids up front are into it. The moms are loving it. The pit's having a blast. The old guys in the back at the bar looking like curmudgeons are absolutely enjoying the set. So they come and be like, hey, brother, enjoyed your set. But it's, again, understanding that connection. So that's an interesting thing. Plus, the fact that you're going out with Magnolia Park, who has more of the pop punk flavor to it. Doing a couple shows with Imminence, who have their own unique style, too, as well. Because you're thinking violin metalcore, like, you got to be kidding me.
Well,
but it's awesome.
Perfectly.
It's cool.
I can't wait to see them. I'm so stoked to actually get to watch them.
Yeah, dude, I've been jamming them for a long time. I cannot wait.
You don't even get to watch them. You get to play right before them, and then all of a sudden you get to experience everything they're doing. Before you know it, guys might just run out on stage, you know, prank them a little bit, just like playing, you know, fake violins or something. Like get like blow up inflatable ones, just start going like this, and they'd be looking like, I don't know what's happening, but this is funny.
Right? There we go.
Or you guys just walk out on stage for your set, and you end up giving, you know, give Nate just his own violin, the inflatable one.
That would be sick if we also had violin.
Yeah.
It'd be funny. It'd be awesome. But it's something that I'm really excited more, I'd say, to see what you guys are able to do with Magnolia Park, just seeing a little bit of a different audience and more of that pop punk flavor. Because when it comes to Imminence, you know the heavy hitters are going to show up. You know the fans that love metalcore are going to show up. When it comes to the pop punk side of it, though, I'm always curious to see like how fans are going to take to something that has a little bit of a different flavor to it. However, with a little bit more of the pop energy you guys have behind you, I think it's going to connect rather well. And I think you guys are going to end up creating a lot of new fans just based off of that run.
Yeah. I mean, it's nothing that we were like nervous for at all. We've been in situations where, you know, we're on a primarily pop punk bill and we're the heaviest band on the bill or whatever, but like it always works. And even with Magnolia Park, they're definitely more pop punk, but they're also getting a lot heavier now. They have that song Hellstar that just dropped that is just like a straight up ass beater the entire time. And so like I'm stoked. I think that we would I think we're gonna mesh really well, and hopefully it goes well and we can do a longer run with them in the future.
One can hope, but if you guys are somewhat used to something like this, what's been probably the weirdest show you guys have played in terms of like bill wise, just trying to make sure you connect with an audience? I'm already looking at Grayson just going up and down like there's gotta be a good story about this already.
I don't know if Ben is thinking of the same show that I am, but there was a show that we played after we played Louder Than Life for the first time where we were playing. So there was like this like venue that actually wasn't a venue. It was just a room with a wooden like egg crate stage. And we were playing there was also like 9 bands, but each band was playing in between like independent wrestlers that were like wrestling in a ring outside. And there were also like 9 of them. So the show started at like 3, went until like midnight. and it's just like band, wrestler, band, wrestler, band, wrestler. And so we were like, I don't know what we're doing here, but also I don't hate it. Like it's not bad.
Yeah, it
But
was a vibe.
yeah. What were
I
you
think,
thinking of?
I was thinking of the last time we played the Milestone in North Carolina when like it was so like I like the local openers on that show were just like really like aggressive, kind of like weird punk bands. And like just like yeah, like weird aggressive punk, I feel like is the best way to describe them. And it was just like one of those things where it's just like, man, like this does not connect at all in any way, shape, or form. And like this is just kind of odd. Like like the show went smooth and everything, and like there wasn't really anything like weird that happened. But I just remember being like, man, like this just like it feels like this just like isn't connecting, isn't hidden, and it's just like the vibe that these guys are creating is just like so different than the vibe that we're creating. And there's such like a strong disconnect, and I really hate that. Like I really hate when it's like there's such like a strong disconnect between like local openers and the tour package. I love those shows where it's like, like between the local openers through the tour package, it just feels like one cohesive night that just like runs really well together. And like, there's nothing against those guys whatsoever because like the bands were fine and everything. It was just like, man, like this is like so divisively different that it just like it feels completely odd.
Yeah, just awkward.
I can understand that. Well, speaking of both of them, first I'm going to go with Ben's. That definitely is awkward. Of course, I love seeing when bands come up and, the bills can be kind of wacky, kind of put together in a different way where, the sounds or the styles are going to be different. But the key is, how is the overall energy going to flow from one band to the next? Because I've seen some crazy shit. I remember 2 years ago, Knock Loose headline. They had Kubla Khan in support with them, but Kubla Khan went on second. Knock Loose went on fourth. Third was Movements. What pop punk band is going to fit between two hardcore bands like that? But the energy, the flow, everything absolutely worked. Like it worked out magically. But it's like you get two heavier like punk openers that kind of have a more of a just like this odder style to it, and then goes to something that's like a completely different type of package. The energy, the idea behind it is going to be a little bit different, so I can see where some of the oddities come in and why it could be tough to play something like that. However, I absolutely am floored by the idea of what Grayson brought up, where it's band, WWE style match, band, another match.
But like,
that's so cool.
It was like, and that was the first time my best friend from back home, her like extended family lived in the area we were in. So this was the first show that she brought her mom to. And so her mom had like heard all these stories, and she just got done seeing all these louder than life pictures. And she shows up and we're playing this bar with like diet Triple H outside, SmackDown style. And so it was like, I was like, I swear what I do is cool. This is cool, but like, come to a different show, you'll get it. And it's just like, she brings that up all the time.
I'm on the opposite of the spectrum. I would have loved to have gone to that show because I mean, I love going to shows, but one of my other favorite things to go is watch amateur professional wrestling because you can see some of the craziest, wackiest stuff.
It was absolutely
really
sick.
Cool.
See, one of the better parts would have been to see if you guys could have had a song that like synced up with the match, because we all know it's, choreographed and scripted. So you guys could have like amplified the match every step of the way. So like when you guys are going to a breakdown or something, especially if it's like a, a hardcore death match, on top of the turnbuckle right before you're about to hit it, dude just like is right about to put someone through a table. So throws him off the top rope, goes through a table, breakdown hits. I mean, how epic would that be? Because of course, you can get a lot more people watching, the overall match itself. But what they're going to remember is that awesome moment and how it was amplified by the music that you guys were playing at that moment. And not only was it something that they heard, but it was because it was live and it was right there. The raw, visceral energy of it is something that would connect. And man, now I'm kind of like thinking, can I promote a show like that?
It was kind of sick.
Honestly, if you can do it, it was so cool. Like getting there, we were like, okay, like we're going to do this show and it's going to be like a mix of wrestling and bands. And it's going to be, like it's not going to be normal. That's for sure. Like it's going to be interesting. And we're just like, let's see how this goes. And like, let's feel it out. And like, we got there and like the moment the first wrestling match started, we were all just like, holy shit, this is so dope. And like, this is so cool. And like, all four of us just like stayed glued to like the wrestling area up until we had to play. We were like, "Man, this is so cool."
You never know. Maybe sometime soon you'll see something in Milwaukee where, Turner Hall Ballroom, it'll be wrestling / a show at the exact same time. Like rings in the middle. We got the stage on one end as well. So that, all of a sudden, boom, we got a match going on. And we got bands like that are switching out the same time too. But a little bit later than that, we got a little bit of a longer match. We got a band that comes on right before the end of the match and it's choreographed. It's timed perfectly to have that moment hit, have that happen. And then who knows, maybe you guys can create, a theme song for one of the wrestlers when they leave the ring.
That'd be sick.
I'm down.
I mean, that's not the first wacky idea I've had for a show on the podcast. I was talking with the guys from Belmont, and I had an idea of, like kind of like with the pandemic when you had to stay 6 feet away from each other, but people had drive-in shows. There was no pit. What about a Demolition Derby style mosh pit?
That'd be so sick.
That'd be wild.
That'd be sick.
I feel like I could essentially become like, if I really tried this, it'd be very dangerous. It costs a lot of money, but I could essentially become like the ECW style, like concert promoter.
Your insurance would be through the roof, but like it'd be cool.
I'd be able to pull this off maybe one time ever. The wrestling one would be different though, because that's already in place. Demolition Derby though, that I could pull off one time maybe.
That's wild.
My biggest problem is to be like, okay, everyone's running the show. All right, where's Kevin during this period of time? Especially when the headliner's on stage. Where is Kevin during this period of time? We got to make sure he's, make sure the pit, like the Demolition Derby pit's okay. Oh, he knows. He's in the middle of it. Next thing, you guys are up on stage ready to play a breakdown. All of a sudden, all the cars are stopped. I just climb out of the car. I stand up on top of the car. I'm just getting ready for this to go, like, headbang, start thrashing around, massive breakdown, as long as no one comes and tries to, hit the car while I'm on top of it and send me flying basically into a certain oblivion. I do not want to pay those insurance costs.
It's sick to watch from the stage. That's all I can say.
You know what? I got a better idea. I think right now when we're like doing this, the Mega Millions is like 1.2 billion. If I somehow can find a ticket and win that, that's what we're investing in. Demolition Derby mosh pits and wrestling / metalcore, metal punk shows, whatever, punk shows, whatever it's going to be, mixed together and just have one hell of a blast with it.
Totally realistic.
And at that point in time, we're going to add you guys to the bill. So if you see something like that happen the next couple of years, it's like another like big giant wrestling one in Milwaukee. Did Kevin put this together? Yep.
Oh yeah. You're going to become the guy.
Oh, I'll become the guy that people are just like, why is he promoting a show? It's going to be good, but where did he get this idea from? Hey, if they can do heavy metal cruises, I can do Demolition Derby mosh pits.
You're not wrong.
I mean, the insurance has to be about the same, right?
You're not wrong.
Probably.
But best part about it is, at least the Demolition Derby pit, we're not going to get you stranded on an island in Jamaica.
You're also not wrong.
Well, guys, I do have one more question for you before we wrap this up, and it is the question that has been answered with your name so many times. So now it's time for me to put it onto you. So between the two of you, can you guys give me 3 bands that you guys love and you would absolutely love to see more recognition and support go to?
Yeah, the first band is, we got to just shout out the Mega Homies, Two Sides of Me. Those guys are the absolute shit. One of the coolest metalcore bands around. Like the shit they write is insane, musically, lyrically, and they put on such a great show. And they're just like some of the sweetest, nicest, best hang guys in the world. Like, I love those guys to death.
And number 2, I got to shout out the Hometown Homies from Indianapolis in Cold State. They are easily making some of the most interesting material and heavy music right now, and that band is bound to just blow up. Their songs are catchy, they're incredible live, the instruments are so tight. So yes, everybody needs to check out Cold State because they are next 100%.
Yeah, and the last band that I want to shout out, I'm actually wearing their shirt, Archetypes Collide. Those are just like some of the nicest dudes we've had the chance to meet. We played a show with them back when they were on tour with Secrets, one of our, like something we were doing lined up with it. Got to meet and hang with those guys there, and just like really, really awesome dudes. They just released a deluxe edition of the record that is fucking killer, and just awesome guys, awesome tunes.
Say, Ben, you beat me to it because when you were talking, I saw the shirt and I couldn't really make out the first words, and I thought it was Archetypes. I was like, if you didn't say Archetypes Cloud, I was going to ask, should you have said that? Because I think your shirt says that.
Yeah.
Well, now when it comes to the podcast, well, I'll say this. Getting Archetypes Cloud in the podcast, I can already check that off because that happened before the album release last year. The other two, though, that's now the challenge. I gotta I gotta keep promoting these other bands, keep getting these guys on. As much as I love talking to some of those heavy hitters and getting to know some more of those, bringing more eyes in the podcast, I still want to make sure I stay good in my mission of continue support new upcoming bands, all those bands that deserve the support, because if we're not going to support you guys, if we're not going to support you from the start, then it's going to be a lot harder for you guys to get to that same point where you want to be, to achieve your goals, achieve your dreams, and then we're just going to be missing out on great music. And we do not want to see the world deprived of great music.
Well, those are absolutely, and we're not just saying these because they're our friends. Like, I genuinely believe it. Two Sides of Me and Cold State are next. They are phenomenal.
Well, there's a big giant whiteboard. Well, not that big of a giant whiteboard. There's a whiteboard right here with a bunch of band names on there for me, bands that I've got working on, and hopefully we'll get at some point, which is why Rise Against is always going to be on this list until they're not anymore, because then that means my journey has reached a great point. But I will add both of those to the list and bring them on because, again, show off more great bands. That's what we're here for. Well, guys, as we bring us to a conclusion, I love to give my guests a chance to do whatever they want to say, plug what we want to plug, promote what we want to promote. So, guys, the floor is yours.
Yeah, new EP, All That I Have Left, coming out May 10th. We will be on the road playing a bunch of random support shows with Crown the Empire, Magnolia Park, and Imminence all throughout May. We are working on shows for June that we cannot talk about yet, but they are very sick. And just keep an eye out. We are on the road all the time, so we will be near you soon. But right now, it's all EP time. So May 10th, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Perfectly said. Now it's time to make sure you don't miss on this with these three last things for the podcast. First things first, the brand new EP, All That I Have Left, again, out on May 10th. More shows with them supporting Crown the Empire, Imminence, and Magnolia Park coming up in May, and shows in June that they're not speaking about right now, but maybe you should make sure you know when they're going to be speaking about them by going to script for the podcast, seeing where it says Find Archers Online, links and labels for everything from social media, from where to stream the EP and all the music they already have out now, where to find them playing live, and get ready to get some merch because, you know, if they're your mom's favorite metalcore band, you're going to want one of those t-shirts as well. So script for the podcast, links, labels for everything down there. I'm going to be your own personal Google on this one, guys. So go and take care of that because I'm doing all the hard work. All you got to do is click and like, follow, stream, share, subscribe, buy, all that good stuff. Time for number 2. Guys, whoever gets in the podcast and enjoying the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise way to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, as well as I'd like to continue supporting you in the future. So how this has not happened yet, I don't know. But when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will go all Liam Neeson on your asses, and I will look for you. I will pursue you. I will find you. I will say hi. And first round's on me.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys for being on. Thank you, Grayson, for reaching out and helping, make sure we set this one up. Now it's time for number 3, where, guys, I can't say goodbye on this. That's way too final. Plus, I got to make good on that promise. And man, when you guys have more new music coming out, I want you to come back right here and we can talk all about it and all even more of the crazier shit we come up with. So this cannot be goodbye. This is, I'll see you later. Woo! Well, folks, that's my interview with Grayson and Ben from the band Archers. And now it's time for Kevin's final thought. My final thought is, take a look at all the great bands that we have found and have seen and have been told about from us asking the question, give us 3 bands you would love to see get more support and get more recognition. Of course, like I said at the beginning of the episode, probably the top one we've ever gotten was Honey Revenge, and we have interviewed Honey Revenge before. Archers has to be the second most band that has been put out there. And it goes still true with our mission here on the Chord Progression Podcast, and something that I've always wanted to achieve. Now, do I want to bring on those bigger bands that we have been? We've gotten Alpha Wolf. We've gotten While She Sleeps this year. I mean, last year we had Saliva. We had From Ashes to New. I'm getting Holy in Absence, Caskets. We're getting bigger bands, and I'm absolutely in love with it. And I'm very thankful for it. but I do still want to continue on with the mission of supporting these up-and-coming bands because they're fantastic. They're creating great music, and Archers is one of those bands. I mean, just take a look at what we talked about. The stuff they're expanding their sound on this EP, what they've done with songs like Bitter, Say This Sober, what you're going to see on Before You Go with an incredible post-hardcore style chorus, what they're doing to connect with their fans, how thankful they are for it, and how, even though they're not part of the industry cool club, kids club kind of thing, eventually what they're doing is going to be what the industry cool kids club is going to be. They're going to be going after what people are enjoying, what bands are connecting the most with their fans, because it's going to be such a powerful thing, and that's going to go a very long way. So when Archers drops All I Have Left, make sure you're prepared for it by going to the description of the podcast below where it says Find Archers Online, links, labels for everything, for social media, where you can stream the EP, where you can download it, buy it, where you can get some merch, get ready for your mom's favorite metalcore band t-shirt, and where to see him play live down in the description of the podcast below. Make sure you subscribe to the Chord Progression Podcast right down here on YouTube. Brand new episodes every single Tuesday and Thursday, and reactions every single Friday as well. Hit the like button right down here on YouTube as well to help push the algorithm. Again, thank you guys very much. If you're on Spotify or Podcasts, you can follow along with us there as well by hitting the follow button and like these episodes. New episodes of the podcast every single Tuesday and Thursday. You can also follow along with us at the Chord Progression Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, link description as well. Thank you, Grayson. Thank you, Ben. This is a great first time. Definitely not the last time. You guys ready for this last one? That's me, you guys. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes with big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.